I do quite a bit of pre-marriage counseling in my office. I don't have a specific program, but I do have things that I think are important. And the number one important thing is that you're equally committed to the relationship. More and more, we're finding that couples are asymmetrically connected. They're asymmetrically committed to being part of this relationship, to making the vision grow, to making whatever needs to be done within themselves or the relationship to share the load and make it possible that the two of you can co-create and are equally willing to sacrifice what you need for yourself to make the relationship work. When you're in an asymmetrical relationship, that basically means one person is really in and the other one isn't. The other one always has a foot out the door looking for what the next best person is. Or, you'll see it in little ways. They're just not as willing to bend. They're not as flexible. They'll say they love you. I think they probably do love you. When I talk to couples, it seems like they do. But remember, loving someone is not enough to really commit to them. More and more in this society, we're seeing people slide into relationships. They're no longer going through the same commitments like courting, getting to know each other, getting to really understand each other. Rather, they're having recreational sex, they're together, they're friends with benefits, they're hooking up. All of a sudden, they're living together. They're living together to save money, and then they're living together, and then they slide into being parents together. And when you don't take these things in stride, when you don't plan for them, when there is no vision, when you're not going through the process of dating each other, of committing to each other, of becoming exclusively monogamous with each other, when you're sliding into a relationship rather than being intentional about it, you have more of a chance of it becoming asymmetrically committed. Now, don't think if you've been with someone and you really want to get married and they toss a ring at you or they're like, okay, I acquiesce, that's going to help. Studies have shown that indeed does not help. In fact, they're married a long time with this asymmetrical pattern. And it's going to get lonely for the person who's carrying the load. It's going to get heavy because they're doing all the emotional work and the physical work. So how do you know for sure if your relationship is asymmetrical? We have some things that can help you understand. There's been a steady decline in the rituals or having defined steps. So if you slid into a relationship, if you kind of started living together and then all of a sudden you're planning a marriage and you're noticing that your partner's not really excited about it, there's a good chance there's an asymmetrical relationship here. There's a growing preference for ambiguity. Like if you notice your partner is just they're sort of indifferent. They don't really care. Like date night comes along. They don't really put the motivation or the effort into it. It's always on you. You're planning everything. You're doing everything. This is asymmetrically committed. When someone's committed to you, they want to show you how much they love you. They go the extra mile. And when both people are committed in a relationship, it cannot fail. It will work because both people are putting in equal effort. But if it's only you putting in effort, if your partner is apathetic or indifferent, and then all of a sudden you're talking to him, do you want a baby? Because by the way, I'm pregnant. There's a good chance there is not the full commitment from both people. And that's so essential to a healthy relationship. Important transitions like planning for a wedding, getting engaged, living together. Those things are supposed to be done in an order that works for the stableness of the relationship. If you move in together, you mess up the marriage style later. And that's why moving in together is more like a slide. It's not really a methodical thing. When therapists give couples ideas about what they can anticipate in relationships, in marriage, they're giving that based on studies of long-term marriages We know that in the majority of marriages, 2 years after the marriage is a prime time for couples to split. Why? Because there's that creating that marriage style. But if you've been cohabitating, that style is done when you're living together. So when you get married, you don't get to celebrate that. You're just sliding into another, you're sliding into the 7-year itch already. And it throws all of the marriage advice and really what therapists can offer for you out the window, because you didn't do the seasons, you didn't do the rituals, you didn't have the intentions, and one partner's always got one foot out the door. So it's one major partner doing everything. And that is not going to go long term in a marriage. And the other thing is that it's important to understand that when commitment is asymmetrical, there's all these nonverbal signs like rolling of the eyes or defensive, putting your arms over your chest, or the idea that you both have an equal say and equal partnership is basically thrown out the window. And what's really significant about most of the studies with asymmetrical relationships show that men are the most vulnerable in this area. Men are the least likely to commit. And that's why we think it's so important. And most therapists will counsel in this way that the most important part of dating, of getting to know someone, of courting, or whatever you want to call it, is that you make sure that he has purpose in the relationship. He is the one that is helping to call the shots. If you go into a relationship and you're the female and you're already, doing everything to make this relationship work, then I would counsel you to slow down, to step back, to give him some space, to make sure that he is as committed to the relationship as you are. He may talk the talk. He may not know what to say to you, but if you really say, how committed are you to what we're creating? That's a whole nother question. And it's important that you're both on the same page, because asymmetrical commitment gets old. It gets lonely. It gets frustrating. One partner gets really angry and resentful because they feel like they're being taken for granted. And in most cases, I'm going to tell you right now, you are, because your partner is not fully committed to the vision for the relationship. And you have to allow space to talk about that and become more intentional in your dating life if you want to keep that good communication going that is so vital in relationships, especially long-term relationships. If this video is valuable to you, please subscribe. And once again, thanks to all my subscribers. You guys make it. You really make me inspired to do more.